Hey guys, Sneaky Snake here, brothers in arms, World of Warships, and today's video we're going to check out an epic Yamato replay that I had playing in the Tier 10 Japanese battleship in some domination here on the map Shatter. I'm divvied up with a couple of friends of Kraken, Enderland, and Barrage, and they're playing in the Worcester and Salem, respectively, the Tier 10 American Light Cruiser and Premium Heavy Cruiser. So, this game that you're going to see here, well, it's funny because a couple months ago I had my first ever 300,000 damage game in the Große Kurfürst, that Tier 10 German battleship, and it was on Tears of the Desert, and I had about 305,000 damage. Well, about 2 months later, here we are once more with a damage record game. And the Yamato is a ship that I have come close before. My prior high damage game in this ship before this one here on Shatter was 291,000 damage on Okinawa, and that was my highest amount of damage for quite some time. However, one of the very interesting things to note about this replay is that the matchmaking that we have is not very conducive to high damage games. It's 2-5-5, meaning 2 battleships, 5 cruisers, and 5 destroyers. And while certainly high-tier cruisers do have plenty of HP to throw around, DDs, relatively speaking, do not, and there's only 2 battleships, and there's no guarantee that I'm going to be the one dealing most of the damage to them. So, in a game like this, what I'm mostly thinking of is dealing as much damage as you can to ships that are not battleships, supporting your team by really focusing on the DDs and the cruisers. And that's not to say that I don't during my normal battleship gameplay, but in a game like this where the majority of the weight that's going to be thrown around are by the cruisers, the light cruisers, and the destroyers, you know, it's that much more important that I'm able to help my team by getting those critical shots on those guys, certainly. However, there's going to be plenty of shenanigans in this replay, and I really find it hard to believe that I have beaten my damage record once again. And I knew that these 300k games, it was just a matter of time. I'm more of a consistency type player where I don't really have the monster damage totals. I just have really good results game in and game out as I get my first salvo downrange at the Des Moines. But now I'm slowly starting to see an uptick in those mega games that a lot of the player base have from time to time. And you see all of those replays on Panzernacker's great YouTube channel. So here at the beginning of the game, my buddies are going to move into the sea cap. Now, you can obviously tell by looking at the disposition of friendly and enemy forces that we are going to have no troubles being able to take care of this capture point. The Yu Yang has been successfully driven away from the cap by quite the combined firepower, and I do get one shell to fall in right on the stern of that guy for 1 over penetration. However, there's also the enemy Des Moines, which is trying to push into the sea cap. He still has a decent bit of hit points to work with. However, it's only a matter of time before we're able to overrun the other side of this capture point and really start to apply the pressure on the enemy team and force them back to the west, where we can hopefully get them cornered in that bottom left quadrant of the map. Now, for my next salvo, I'm going to shoot downrange here at the enemy Montana, and the next few salvos that I'm actually going to shoot are going to be directed at this Tier 10 American BB, the very first one of which does 11,200 damage, and I also have a very cheeky torpedo beat, as some of those torpedoes from the enemy Yu Yang appear right off my bow, but there's a nice Yamato-sized gap in their dispersion. Now, this Montana, I'm not really sure what this guy was doing. However, he was making it a little bit more difficult to get shots on target because he was not doing things that are predictable. He decided to speed up, but then immediately slow down. So you have to take a lot more care in your shots, and having the spot plane to be able to see over the corner of the island is very imperative, and a reason why I run the spotter plane on my Yamato, being able to get those good looks at enemy ships over the corners of islands, whereas if I didn't have it right now, I probably wouldn't be able to aim as accurately. Now, before we do get back into the gameplay, I do want to mention that I have a full survivability and gunboat build, meaning that I have basics of survivability and fireproof as 2 of my core captain skills, and I also have main battery modification 3 to get that reload down to the gold standard of 26.2 seconds. I do not have the legendary mod for the Yamato unlocked yet. However, if I do get it at some point here in the future, then I will definitely be putting it on this ship, as it takes its ridiculous accuracy and further enhances it to levels that are quite frankly not available to any other battleship in the game. Another 10k plus salvo downrange at the Montana, and I'm up to 50,000 points of damage, with virtually all of it done to that guy. Now, you can see the enemy Des Moines is getting ready to make his move around the corner. He's at half health. He's taking a little bit of damage, but hopefully I'll be able to get the killing blow on this guy. So I need one of my teammates to pop his radar, and I believe it is barrage here as he uses it. The Des Moines gets spotted, I shoot. The smoke screen has actually concealed me moving up into this position, and that poor guy gets dev struck at 25,000 hit points as I pick up my first kill of the game and my first 2 citadels as I'm up to 75,000 points of damage. Now you can see here the enemy team has really been pushed away. There's 2 Yu Yangs that have been last spotted southeast of the sea cap, and I know that right now as I'm undetected before I go in that smoke screen that both of those destroyers must be behind the island at F8. Now I'm detected as I shoot in the smoke screen, so now that I know that they have moved out. So what I'm going to do is continue to go full speed through this smoke screen, and I'm just going to continue to head to the east as I know that there are probably torpedoes coming my way. You can see the one Yu Yang opens up at about 10 kilometers, and then the second Yu Yang, as I predicted, was indeed behind the island. However, I'm going to swing my guns into play. The lightning that's out in front of me has his hydroacoustic up, and take a look at that massive torpedo soup that is coming my way. It's a shame that I was able to outthink their decision, and now I'm going to hopefully make this Yu Yang pay for the error of his ways, and that's exactly what I do, is I get the 2 overpens necessary to kill my second ship of the game, that Tier 10 Pan-Asian DD, and then as we look back over the stern, all of those torpedoes that were launched, not a moment too late, I guess, would be the wordplay on that, and all of them are going to go off the aft end of my ship. 20 torpedoes in total, 20 very dangerous deep water torps, but to the enemy's chagrin, no dice on those salvos. So a bit of planning right there, getting into my mind. I know that I had to get through the sea cap, but since that smoke screen was there, I was going to be able to utilize it effectively and be undetected for good bits of time where the enemy DDs weren't 100% sure when to drop their torpedoes. If one of them wanted to be a little bit risky and decide to launch torpedoes, say, at the corner before I'd even been spotted coming out of the smoke screen, probably could have gotten some hits on me, but that's that kind of forward thinking as a destroyer that not all players have, being able to launch those, kind of guess torpedo salvos and still manage to get something out of them. Anyway, this enemy Des Moines is coming around the corner at full broadside. Unfortunately, I aimed just a tad bit too high, but that is already my 6th or 7th 10k plus salvo of the game, as I get a lot of overpens on the superstructure of him and deal over 10,000 points of damage, so that's okay. Still a pretty decent salvo. This guy's fate has already been sealed as he decided to come back this way. He's going to go bow in towards my buddy in the Salem, but it is not going to matter, because as we all know, the Des Moines cannot angle to an enemy Yamato. Shells flying in. Somehow I don't get a citadel, but I get yet another massive salvo at over 15,000 points of damage, and hopefully my buddy will be able to take care of that kill here in the very near future. So I'm up to 121,000. I've honestly done a lot of damage to the Montana. I was able to obliterate one of the Des Moines, got some really big hits on one of the other Des Moines, and also helped kill one of the DDs. But if you've noticed, the majority of my damage has come against battleships. However, the majority of my actual, I guess, important damage, getting a kill on a Des Moines, blapping another one down to very low health, getting the kill on the Yu Yang. Those are the kinds of plays as a battleship that you need to make. The target prioritization is important. Now, of course, that Henri IV was way out there on the 10 line, but he wasn't an important target. He's just a glorified damage farmer. He is not a ship that is going to be able to influence the early or even the mid part of the game with any more efficiency than a Des Moines or a Yu Yang could. So because of that, it is my obligation as a battleship driver to focus on the targets that are not necessarily closest to me or the ones that are providing the best broadside, but the targets that are going to provide the best chance for my team to be able to win the game. As you can see here, getting a shot against the Des Moines. Unfortunately, he threw off my aim just a little bit with his speed. One of my first bad misses, bad salvos that is, of the game. However, he does need a torpedo, and he does have to turn bow onto me. And he's not going to be able to get behind that island and turn left in time before my guns are reloaded. I'm also kind of side-scraping the corner, if you will, World of Tanks style, to try and shield my buddy behind me from potential torpedoes. As you can see, the cap is being flipped. However, there are no enemy ships spotted that are flipping it, so that must mean the DD is at the very extreme west end of the cap, and that's exactly where the torpedoes come from, is that enemy Des Moines is about ready to kick the bucket. So, of all 3 Des Moines in the game, I killed one of them on a dev strike. I blapped another one very significantly to where he is now dead, and now the 3rd Des Moines also got blapped by me, and he is dead as well. So all 3 American radar cruisers taken care of without too much of an issue due to the power of the Yamato's guns. Now, a very interesting point here if you want to read the minimap and get better at it. You can see that I'm not detected. Now I get detected. However, The reason why I got detected is because I came around the corner of the island and that Montana is only 11.1 kilometers away. However, in the intervening time before that, I wasn't detected, although there were torpedoes that were coming due east. So what that means is that the Cossack that was last reported in F4 is now to the northwest of the cap as he just appears on the map. So that's some very important information because it's going to influence my decision here when I do get into the B cap. I also managed to bounce an entire salvo from the Montana, which is pretty funny. And I'm going to get some good shots at him here with the front guns. But now that I know that there's an enemy Cossack to the northwest and now spotted to the northeast of the cap, it's going to be pretty difficult to angle from all potential torpedo attack avenues. I still got 28 seconds left on my repair, so I should have it back by the time their torpedoes are ready to go. However, looking at the Cossack that's to the northwest to B, I know that he's probably going to drop some torpedoes because the guy is going to assume that I'm going to push forward and continue on my way over to the A cap to potentially help out my buddy in the lightning. So what I'm going to do here is get into the middle of the A cap, and then I'm going to slow down and angle towards the biggest threat, which is of course the enemy Yamato. The reason why this is imperative is, well, one, the Yami has a very large citadel and one that is easy to reach at any stretch of the imagination, so I have to angle in towards this guy. I'm going to get all of my guns ready to go, get the full broadside out. I eat 9,700 damage, which is a decent bit. However, in return, I get a massive 40k salvo with a double citadel, crack over 200k damage, and pick up the Confederate. However, you can see I glance back to the right to see where the Cossack is, now moving on a course due north of the B cap. So I'm going to come to a full stop because I'm anticipating that his torpedoes have already been reloaded by now and that he is going to drop them down that narrow channel. And what do you know? This is not 2020 hindsight watching this video. I was thinking this during the actual gameplay, and it was able to save my bacon, which was, you know, just, I guess, something you just got to get good at. Being able to anticipate enemy DDs, when they're going to launch their torpedoes, memorizing reload times on destroyers, or, you know, at least if they have the requisite torpedo skills, just understanding when they're probably going to launch torpedoes. So now I know that that guy to the north does not have his torps back for, you know, the foreseeable future. My buddy in the lightning is going to try to deal with him, so now I'm going to move forward and try to distance myself from the Cossack that was moving over towards the C cap, because there's a decent chance that he'll have torpedoes coming in from the northwest or the northeastern part of the B cap. So now I'm moving away from him and gaining distance from his torpedo range, which I believe is 10 kilometers, so that I will be able to get out of the range of it if he did launch his torpedoes at me. So just a little bit of micro maneuvering right there that I really want you guys to understand fully as I get another 10k plus salvo on the Yami. I've lost track of the count, guys. I think I've had at least a dozen by this point of the replay. Trying to angle as best as I can, and I do a decent job of it, taking only 6,000 damage. But yeah, just trying to get into my brain when there's destroyers on multiple flanks, and you need to be very careful because, of course, destroyers and their torpedoes are the great equalizers to battleships. Now, another little important thing right here is that I'm getting into a fight with this Yamato where I'm not necessarily trading as well as I'd like to. So what I did there was come to a stop and then immediately gun it full forward. And I was able to make this short sprint to the island that's just in front of me in a fast enough amount of time before his guns were reloaded. So as soon as he shot, I was already at full speed ahead, trying to get myself into a position where now I'm only dealing with the enemy Cleveland. That Yamato is not able to get shots at me and is not able to influence this battle that I have against this Tier 8 American light cruiser. So that guy is now SOL, and he's going to have to figure out something else to do. So now I can come to a stop, get angled, where I can still use my rear turret and try to go to town here on the enemy Cleveland. He is kiting away from me. However, I do get the forward turrets and then the rear turret shooting at him, so we'll see if I'm going to be able to take care of this guy. I do get a very unfortunate bounce, but then the next two shells that go in find that weak upper belt, and I put him down to 6,400 HP. If you've lost track of the damage counter, I'm up to 265,000 points of damage. However, this is a very important kill that needs to happen right about now. The Cossack did kill the friendly lightning that was over there, so now he's going to go get on the A cap. And as long as this Cleveland dies, he's not going to have any more support, and that's exactly what I do. I get the very clutch kill with 3 overpens and a pen on that Tier 8 American light cruiser, picking up my 4th frag of the game. Now what I'm going to do is try to back up and get some cheeky shots here on the enemy Yamato. I went undetected when I was engaging the Cleveland after he went behind the island at A, so hopefully this is a play that this Yami was not expecting me to make, and as I come detected around the corner of the island in reverse, he's at 43,000 hit points. The shells look fantastic, and unfortunately, 2 ricochets, 1 failed pen, and 1 citadel. I was only able to get the 1 citadel. Very unfortunate. I was expecting a lot higher of a damaging salvo right there against that guy. However, I do have my heal coming back up, and now I'm going to try to reverse angle, I suppose, as best as I can. I'm going to get one more free salvo off before he does turn his front and rear turret into play against me. So he's now down to 20,000 hit points. And this brings up a very important, I guess, small detail about the Yamato that anybody driving it and anybody shooting at it needs to know. You, of course, have the octagonal citadel at the nose of the ship. So when you're at these kind of ranges, you really need to aim just underneath the A turret where there's that cheek, where the octagonal, I guess, square is. You saw right where that shell landed underneath the A turret, and I was able to get a very meaty salvo on this guy. Now, unfortunately, I took a big one in return, 34,000 damage as he got a double citadel in change. You saw the one shell go just underneath, I guess, the Y turret, and another shell go underneath the smokestack. But I thought I was angled pretty good enough right there, but you can see just how fickle it is because the octagonal citadel also exists on the rear of the ship as well. However, I was able to get a very important kill on that guy, my 4th of the game. 314,000 points of damage, over 2 million potential. For a game that only has 5 cruisers, or excuse me, for a game that only has 2 battleships, that is a pretty healthy amount of potential damage to have. And it's important to note that I have yet to take a single torpedo in this game. I cannot stress to you guys how important it is to understand the micro-maneuvering aspect of battleships, constantly changing your speed, doing little minute shifts of the rudder just to try and, you know, throw off the enemy ship's aim. You saw right there, I turned away from the Cossack instead of turning into him, and his torpedoes did run out of range before they were able to potentially hit me. So again, maneuvering around in these tight spaces with destroyers, all about the map, and this is probably the best masterclass video, not just of Yamato gameplay that I can give, but just how to maneuver your battleship around, putting it in the center of the action, being able to shoot at the majority of ships that are on the map, being able to get shots on and potentially kill the most important targets to kill during the course of the game. Like I mentioned earlier, I did lots of damage to all 3 Des Moines, which were 3 of the most deadly ships that were on the enemy team, helped kill a destroyer, got some decent shots on other DDs, and then of course was able to use the power and the might of the Yamato to deal with those 2 battleships, especially the Montana, without too much of issue. And I felt that I was in the right place at the right time for the majority of this game, getting some really good, really accurate shots at enemy ships, and was able to help my team to a very well-deserved and well-earned victory. I'm now going to continue to run away from the Cossack because, again, there's no point for me to try and chase him down, especially in these close, confined areas where he could come flying out around the corner of an island, and there's nothing that I'd be able to do about it. So with 2:34 left in the game, we're going to get the C-cap here momentarily from my MIA buddy, and then we're going to win the game. So with that all being said, let's take a look at the post-battle results. Alrighty guys, taking a look now at the post-battle results. 679,000 credits received and 10,700 experience earned. This was not my first win of the day. I picked up Devastating Strike, Confederate, Dreadnought, and High Caliber, dealing 316,459 points of damage off of 104 shell hits. I sank 4 enemy ships, had 6 citadels, had 1 assisted base capture, and 6 target hits with the secondaries. Taking a look at the team score, oh yeah, 3,423 base experience in the victory. My 2 division mates combining for 3 kills and almost, I guess, 3,600 base XP as well. So between the 3 of us, we had a very nice carry for our team, and we were able to secure a very good result. And yeah, this was just a game that showcases why the Yami is so incredibly powerful if you know what you're doing with it. The guns are obviously, you know, they don't need mentioned. They're the best in the game on a battleship, but being able to take advantage of concealment of the spot plane, knowing the armor, understanding torpedo range on destroyers so you can properly, you know, try and get away from their attacks or dodge their torpedoes. Just all those little things really do add up in it, and it really gives you a game like this. Taking a look at the detailed report, 312,000 damage dealt with the AP, 4,000 from the secondary hits. The few shells that did hit that Yu Yang did a lot of damage. You can see, however, up at the top, 121,000 damage dealt to the Yami and 90,000 to the Montana. But again, look at the damage dealt to some of the other ships. 30k to the Cleveland, 26 to the Des Moines, 6,000 to the Yu Yang. 26,000 to the Des Moines, I was also getting some very good shots at enemy ships that were much more efficient or capable of influencing the game towards the enemy team. And I was really able to brutalize those guys at the early and mid game. So then when it came down to the end and I had to deal with the Yamato, I still had plenty of hit points, and due to my superior skill, angling, and gunnery, I was able to take care of business on that guy. So thank you for watching this video, guys. We appreciate all the support that you give our channel, and have a fantastic day.